Chapter 6. Hidden Cloud Training. Part 1. Traveling from Kusatsu to the Hidden Cloud would have normally taken about 3 days if going at a leisurely pace, and they wouldn't have been in a hurry anyway. That time estimate is increased significantly when you have an untrained kid with you. Sure, Katori was carried for most of it, but she still needed breaks more often than a child from the academy would, and she wasn't used to the speeds of shinobi. She's clutching onto Naruto's back for dear life. She was fascinated at first at just how fast they can go, but she'd never experienced it before and doubted if she even could. "You are okay back there?" Naruto calls out. Katori manages to get through a muffled noise that sounds like an agreement. She'd tried speaking earlier and got a fly in her throat, not making that mistake again. However, even if she said she's fine, she's still clearly shaken up and holding onto Naruto even harder than before. He lands on the ground and Hinata and Amoy follow. "Let's rest, okay?" Hinata agrees right away, but Amoy first looks to the direction the hidden cloud's at. It's fairly close, just a few more hours. Ideally they'd still travel, but given the circumstances, he agrees to the break as well and begins setting up a temporary camp. Katori's clutches onto Naruto's clothes even more. "We can keep going. I'm fine." She hides her face in his back. "I'm fine." She knew they've stopped much more often than they'd need to. They were constantly checking up on her, and if there was even the slightest hint of hesitation, they'd stop. She tried putting on a brave face when she was tired, but they always saw through her. And she did get tired, even if she wasn't the one actually running. Traveling at such speeds put a strain on her mind, and she'd get headaches occasionally, as well as get motion sickness. Hinata places a hand on her head. "You are, and we'll make sure you continue to be fine. We'll take as many breaks as needed." Katori doesn't seem convinced. A part of her is worrying that she's already being a burden, that her new mom and dad, young as they are already regretting their decision. Amoy speaks up from his crouched position, going through his pack. Besides, a cell is meant to look after each other. If one member is feeling off, we help them get back on their feet and continue when we're all at 100%. He stands up and walks over to Katori, handing her a water container. "Think of that as your first ninja lesson. You take care of your team." That seems to do it for Katori as she nods and climbs off Naruto's back and takes the water. Katori's excited to look at her surroundings. They went through the land of hot waters and stopped to rest at an onsen there, through the land of frost with its much colder climate but beautiful scenery. They even have slopes you can slide on. And now they're in the land of lightning, which is filled with mountains that reach the skies, even higher than the ones in the land of frost. Amoy was right when he said breathing in his home is more difficult. Once Katori is a bit further away and exploring, Hinata approaches Amoy. "I apologize for the breaks. I know you originally didn't agree to taking so long, but you really don't need to worry. Besides, it basically confirmed everything I thought about Naruto. I got to see what kind of guy he is. And he's affected you a lot, looks like." Hinata blushes and looks away. "Wah. No, She regains her composure and smiles. "No, I was greatly influenced by him. As were a lot of people. Even Cloud Shinobi." Hinata's expression gives away a somewhat worried appearance, which Amoy brushes off, and the group goes back to setting up camp. Much to his dismay, Hinata uses this break as an opportunity once again to quiz him on some of the Jonin books Iruka-sensei had given Naruto. Katori found it funny that Naruto also needed to study, but it also put her at ease to see that even they have things to learn. Although it also made her nervous that studying doesn't seem to have an end. It was a conflicting feeling. To Naruto's even greater dismay, Amoy decided to join in on the study session to pass time. They drag it out until Katori looks in a more cheerful mood and call the break study session over and continue to the Hidden Cloud. Their next break would be in civilization. Hidden Cloud Village. Katori stares up in awe. This has got to be the biggest mountain she's seen so far, and there are mountaintops as far as she can see. Buildings line the sides and tops, lights shining inside to illuminate the night sky, each connected to the closest top by suspended bridges. She feels dizzy just looking at it from afar. Naruto has the same expression. Hinata seems a bit more quiet than normal, looking contemplating at the hidden village. "Welcome to the Hidden Cloud." Amoy addresses the three and leads them to the gate. The guards stop them for a checkup, and Amoy hands the proper identification. Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and the guard look at the girl, who's now walking on her own. We weren't informed of a child. I'll vouch for her and talk with Lord Rikage about it. Mark me down as liable for her actions until we have something more official. The guards do just that and let them in. Katori gets a better look at her first hidden village. The hustle and bustle is much greater than anything she'd seen so far. Shinobi scatter left and right, some going about their daily lives, others flying from rooftop to rooftop. It's a sight to behold. The main street is filled with stores, shops, and stalls. Either trying to sell things to those just entering or selling things one might need before heading out. Basic provisions like foods and pouches, or some more niche items like scrolls or specialty kits. Katori darts from one store to another, an expression of joy on her face. Naruto and Hinata look on smiling. After some time of sightseeing without even leaving the main streets leading in and out of the hidden cloud, some shinobi begin recognizing the blonde. Is that Uzumaki? Hey, it's Naruto. Naruto, over here. Hey, you remember me? Suddenly, a crowd swarms around him and Hinata, making the couple nervous at the attention. Katori looks confused at everyone recognizing them, even though they both said they'd never been here. Amoy stands next to her. You know much about the ninja war that just ended? A little. Some ninja came to town to fix it and said things. Well, Naruto was the one to help out big time. He's a big hero. They never mentioned anything about that, even when they talked about their abilities and history. He was seriously such an amazing ninja, and yet didn't brag about it. She makes her way to the crowd to try and squeeze through, using her smaller size to her advantage. The people are a bit busy fawning over Naruto and talking amongst each other. Once inside the circle, she makes her way for Hinata, who's standing behind Naruto and looks oddly nervous. Katori grabs her hand, which makes the Hyuga cry out. She pulls her hand and twists around, panic in her eyes. Katori looks scared that she did something wrong. Hinata? Naruto turns to her and sees her state. He puts an arm around her and Katori and flickers away. Everyone looks confused as Amoy just sighs. Oh, no, where'd they run off to? They don't know their way around. What if they go where they're not supposed to and get in trouble and Naruto uses the nine tails to fight, but the cliffs can't support his weight, and so they all fall down and cause a rockslide die, and I'll have a dead kid and ruined village on my record. He immediately rushes to find where they went. On a nearby rooftop, Naruto lands with the two and Hinata presses her back against a wall, crossing her arms over her chest. Hinata, are you okay? He moves to place a hand on her shoulder, but she shrinks back. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Katori looks down, apologetic. Hinata breaks from her state to kneel down. No, you didn't do anything wrong, I promise. I was just startled, is all. It's all good. She stands up on her feet and smiles, but it's clear to Naruto it's not genuine. He's seen this many times before, a way to mask pain. Shall we get back? She ushers Katori to get going and goes to walk past Naruto to return to the streets. He stops her. I know this probably isn't my place to say, but I don't want any more regrets. I was a fool for so many years, and I keep thinking how things would have been different if I noticed sooner. I don't want to look back and think that again. Hinata presses her head against his shoulder. I know. I don't want that either. I'm fine, just the elevation got to me, is all. She wraps her arms around him and whispers, so only he can hear. I promise we'll talk, just not in front of her. All right, on one condition. He embraces her and places a hand on the back of her head. Stay by my side. Always. Katori's not certain what happened, but she's glad Hinata seems well. Naruto places a hand on the girl's head and she joins the hug. Amoy's voice comes from the side. I'm glad you're having a family bonding moment. Ready to get going? Ah, yeah, sorry about that. The group find themselves in front of the largest building on the highest mountaintop, Naruto and Hinata standing by Katori's side and holding her hands. Amoy leads them inside the Rikage's office up several floors as he and Naruto are greeted by the people inside as old friends. Standing in front of the massive doors, Amoy knocks and excuses himself. Lord Rikage, we've arrived. Inside, they're met by a rather large room, much larger than the Hokage's office. The center space is mostly empty, with the usual shelves filled with books and scrolls. One side is a dedicated gym area with weights, dumbbells, and a punching bag. Directly in front of the door is a desk just in front of the window, not unlike the Hokage's office, although the walls are entirely windows. Behind the desk, sat not on a chair but a sofa, is the intimidating figure of the Rikage, lifting a dumbbell with one hand while signing paperwork with another. Next to him is a man with swept blonde hair, and sitting on a couch nearby is a man with bushy white hair. Naruto recognizes them from when he first met the Rikage, but he doesn't remember them by their names. C and Darui. B, Samui, and Karui are also present. "Yo, there you are." B calls out from the punching bag. "Hey." Naruto returns the greeting, while Hinata offers a polite bow. He looks up from his work and places the weight down. "Took you long enough. What was the hold-up?" About that, Amoy looks back at the young girl standing next to Hinata. The members of Team B recognize her, although she was unconscious when they saw her and when they left. Darui and C look between each other, not certain why the Leaf Shinobi are accompanied by a kid. He walks around his desk to greet the guests. He towers over all of them, easily the largest man Katori has ever seen. She hides behind Hinata out of base instinct. "Well, are you going to introduce yourself?" Crosses his arms. "Boss, you could be a bit more welcoming to a kid." Darui drawls from his place on the couch. She's looking at the ground. "I'm, Katori." Even though she said little, her voice became quieter as she kept talking. Naruto places a hand on her head, causing her to look up to see him smiling. "Hey, come on, that's on your name now, is it?" She looks up and stiffens a little bit, but she's looking the large man in the eyes. "I'm Katori Uzumaki, sir." "Uzumaki?" Everyone in the room, except for Amoy, looks surprised. The looks between Naruto and Hinata. "You two work fast." Hinata blushes profusely. Naruto explains the situation. "No, it's not like that. She's from Kusatsu town, where everything happened. We kinda ended up adopting her. Now there's a surprise." Samui's way of expressing surprise is very slightly raising her brows. Hinata makes a case. "I'm aware this is not what was agreed upon by our villages, and this may very well be a breach in our agreement, but I beg you to allow her temporary residence while we conduct our mission. Lord Rikage, I'm willing to take responsibility for their stay in the cloud, if you allow it." "You, Amoy?" Raises a brow. "Brother, you gotta let the kid stay." B rushes over to plead. Hits his brother over the head. "You fool, I haven't even said anything. She can stay. But she's your responsibility." He looks at her adoptive parents, who nod in full agreement. "We'll need to figure out what to do while you're on missions for the hidden cloud." He walks back to his sofa and sits down, resting his arm on the backrest. C addresses the three. "You won't be going on missions right away, so we'll think of something. Use this time to get accustomed to the hidden cloud and the people. Shinobi from the hidden sand have already arrived and are to go on a mission tomorrow. As for your accommodation," he begins flipping through a clipboard. B jumps in front of him and looks to A and Naruto. "Don't worry about that cause I'm callin' dibs, you guys can chill out at my crib. Right? Yeah, we can stay with Octopops if that's cool." Naruto is quick to join in his elder's excitement. C looks to his Rikage. "I mean, if they wish to," and nods. "I don't see why not. All right. With all due respect, Lord Rikage." Samui stops them before they go on. "I'm not sure if Lord B's home is the best place for a young girl." That point makes everyone reconsider the idea. Kids are impressionable, and Killer B is himself. "My home has enough space. Atsui and I will house them for their stay." "Oh, but staying with B's gonna be fun. Katori'll be fine there." Naruto protests. Not that he minds Samui, although he doesn't know her, but he's made a good friend with B. "No, Samui's right. We almost made a huge blunder." Scratches his chin with his one hand. Everybody nods sagely in agreement. "You too, brother?" B looks dejected. "All right, Samui, show them the way." She nods and excuses herself, heading outside and urging the Leaf Ninja to follow her. Samui's house is quite large, considering only her and her brother live here now. A room for them each, one large guest room and one small guest room. Perfect for her guests. They've already been shown around where they'll be staying and have left their possessions, now free to sit back and relax, drinking refreshments. "My brother's out on a mission, so he won't be back for a while." Naruto leans back in his chair. "You sure it's fine to have us here without asking him, though?" Samui shrugs. "He won't mind. If anything, he'd enjoy the company." "If you say so, you must be tired from your journey. I'll prepare the bath for Hinata and Katori. You can use it after that, Naruto." She stands up and stretches her back. Katori jumps up, excited for a bath, and practically drags Hinata off her chair. Hinata giggles at the display. All right. Don't rush. Have fun, you three. And don't use up all the hot water. As Samui passes by Naruto, she glances sideways to him. No peeking. Of course I wouldn't. He huffs. With the baths finished, Hinata and Katori are sitting in the main room, while Samui went to do some housework before sleep. Once Naruto comes out of the bath, Katori begins yawning excessively. She managed to fight off sleep just long enough for him to join them. She's walked to her new room, where Wee crawls in bed, already half asleep, and tucks in and mumbles. Night, Mom, Dad. Naruto and Hinata blush and look at each other, quickly looking away. They both reach out to hold the other's hand and intertwine their fingers. Neither expected to have a kid in their lives this soon, but maybe it won't be so bad. They share a quick kiss and quietly leave the room. The two make their way on the porch to look at the clouds' night sky. They're holding hands and Hinata is resting her head on his shoulder. After some minutes of enjoying the scenery, Naruto speaks up. You want to talk about what happened earlier? You were nervous the entire time we were walking through. Could feel it when I was holding your hand. Hinata squeezes his hand. She closes her eyes. Bad memories, I suppose. Father was opposed to me coming here exactly for this. Memories? Yes. Remember what Niji said about his father's death? Me being kidnapped, which resulted in I managed to convince him otherwise, but deep down maybe I'm still afraid. Naruto looks to the ground. Right. I completely forgot about that. I'm so sorry, Hinata, I never even thought, but things are different now. Many have seen how wrong it all was and are doing better. Even the Raikage. They're not gonna try anything, and even if someone does, we'll kick their ass. Together. I'll be by your side. She springs up to kiss him on the cheek. Thank you, Naruto. The clang of a tray is heard from the room behind them. They turn around to see Samui placing cups of tea. I'm sorry. I couldn't help but overhear. Hinata looks embarrassed over her insecurities being heard by one of the people she's insecure from. I know this may not mean a lot, but the hidden cloud has changed. It's true we've tried to kidnap many Kekkei Genkai users, but things are different. At the very least, one thing you can be certain of is that Lord B values Naruto greatly, and Lord Raikage wouldn't go against his brother. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make things awkward. I know things have changed, I simply need my subconscious to become aware of that. It's partly why I insisted on coming along. Before, other villages would have killed to have a Hyuga on their territory, and now we can move freely. It's fine. It's a work in progress for us all. I'll take my leave for the night. Sleep well. Samui takes her tea and leaves. Naruto and Hinata stay for a bit longer before they head to their room. Their single bedroom. Hinata feels her temperature rise, sharing a bed with Naruto. They haven't been a couple for that long and are still getting used to the fact. So far they've stayed in the same room but slept in separate beds. But now, Naruto places a hand over hers and brings his head to touch hers. Her blush intensifies. Is it weird? I don't know if I can explain, I just feel really happy right now. Hearing his words put her at ease, at least for now, and she grasps his hand as well. She turns to face him, their heads still touching, and they quickly fall asleep. End of chapter 6.